We're on. Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you are. Guys, welcome to #KeepTheFlameAlive. Today is an amazing day. We've got some really, really special guests. But before I introduce them, I want to talk about sponsors. Sponsorship, believe it or not, we do have sponsorship. We've got aikitv.online, that's me, of course, and shinokanbooks.com. I'll talk more about shinokanbooks.com later. The publisher is a bastard, and we've had to twist his arm to get a discount for you guys. But again, keep listening. We'll talk more about that discount later. Okay, without further ado, I'll introduce my guests one at a time. Jacuqes Payet Sensei from Kyoto.
Hello.
Mustard Sensei from Vancouver. Dave Rubens Sensei from London.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, we're going to start off with Jacuqes Payet Sensei. We're going to go first names. We're going to start off with Jac. And just a quick one, Jac, of your master background and when you entered Koganei, the dojo, the Yoshinkan dojo.
Yes, before Aikido, I did some Kung Fu little, I did some Jiu-Jitsu, but I came to the Hombu in 1980, and I started straight away Yoshinkan Aikido. And I stayed in Koganei until 85, end of 85. And I went back to France and to England, and I came back again to Ochiai Dojo in end of 1988, and I left again in 1993.
Rob?
I started Yoshinkan in 1977 in Toronto with Takeno Sensei, and I trained until for 10 years. And when I was Sandan, I went to Japan in March 1986, and I stayed there, and I left Japan in July 1995. So I was in Koganei from 1986 to 1989, and then I was in Ochiai until 95.
Okay. Dave?
I started Yoshinkan on the 1st of June, 1984, 6 o'clock in the evening, and Jacuqes Payet Sensei was my teacher. And so basically since then, so Jacques, you did something right, obviously. I spent my time in that one room from 84 to 88. Jacques then left at the end of 85, and then 86 I became Uchideshi. So I was sort of the foreign Japanese-speaking Uchideshi, who just took over from Jacques. And then I left again at the end of 88, just when Jacques came back again. So I was just in that gap there. And of course, Rob was there as well at the same time. So I was there basically 84 to 88, and then I think 6 months for 89, and then 6 months again for 90. And that was the end of my Japanese experience, basically.
All right, just a little footnote here. Most of you probably don't know this, but Dave was probably the last foreign Uchideshi of the old days and of Shioda Gozo Kancho.
Yeah.
Am I right?
I believe so, yes. Yeah.
Because after that was Mark, but he didn't take on the full-time Uchideshi role.
Exactly. I was the last person who lived in the dojo. And
you're the last one. So guys, you're looking at history here. I'm not talking about Rob's age either.
Yeah,
I
lived in the dojo for 1 month because of David, but that's another story. We'll have to wait for another story about that.
Okay. I started Aikido at the end of 1972. I was, I think, about 11 or 12. And in 1983, I went to the Yoshinkan. Stayed there for 3 months, lived in the dojo. Jacques was there. So was Ando Sensei and Terada Sensei, Nakano Sensei. They were all living in the dojo. And for me, it was about 3 of the best months of my life. What that says about my life, I don't know. Okay, so guys, Dave, you once said in an interview that you had 100 people practicing Yoshinkan Aikido in a seminar. You could pick the ones who had trained at Koganei.
Yeah.
Do you want to say a little bit more about that? Why?
It was interesting for us. I don't know the people who were before Koganei, but people talk about the golden age. Every age is a golden age, and Joe, you've talked about every age creates a golden age for itself. But it seems that looking back now, there was just an intensity. There's an intensity of the Koganei dojo that did not and didn't need to transition into Ochiai. It was a different feeling in Ochiai, but it was almost as though there was this spark in Koganei that could be seen from, seen a planetary spark that could be seen from space. It was just so intense. And it was just, everything was, it was basically, it was an Aiki monastery, is what it was. And everything there was like coal compressed into a diamond. There was only one thing you had to do there. And that was A, serve Kancho Sensei, and B, do Yoshinkan Aikido. That was all. And everything, there was no other thing except for those two things. And it just created, of course, Takeno Sensei was there, which I'm sure the stories will come up. Takeno Sensei was there, but you also had, Nakano Sensei, Ando Sensei. For me, Jacques was there, as a senpai and as a sensei. And you just had that absolute compression of everything into laser focus. This is what you're here for. And we'll talk about it later, but one of the things I did is, as a white belt, I just knew from my first day, I want to do this stuff. And I asked to join the Kensho Sensei course, which was the morning and the afternoon sessions. And usually have to be brown belt. And I was given permission, I was allowed to do that. But you had there in that massive dojo at 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 outsiders and 6 Yoshinkan Hombu Dojo instructors training an hour and a half. And if you wanted to be part of that, you just had to deal with it. And it's just that intensity, I think, created something that has not been recreated. That's my own thing. I'm sure others have their own ideas.
All right, Rob, what do you think?
I agree. I don't know about being able to tell someone right away that they did Koganei, but there's no doubt David's right. It was a special place. I think it was because Takeno Sensei set the tone, really intense. The month I lived there, again, it was really strict, and so that's why when I left, it was easier because I got my own place and I had to get a job so I could make some money. But it was really strict, really full on, and I think Takeno Sensei set the tone, and I think all the other teachers too, and all the young uchideshis were just following that line in that order. And it was really strict. I can remember once asking if I could leave the dojo to go buy Coke, and they said no. And I looked out the door. I don't know if you remember it, David, where the high school field was. I looked out the door and I could see the Coke machine from the door of the dojo. And they said, "No, you can't." I went, "Oh, okay, thanks." So it was, and as David said, the Kenshus were just murder. And I think again, it was with Takeno Sensei set the tone, and I think it was a special place that way, certainly.
Okay. Jacques, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think I hope I describe a little in the book, but exactly that it's a special place and very strict, and but that it's a martial art, so you need that. You need this atmosphere, and you need that. Otherwise, it's difficult to build up a very strong Aikido. But,
I want to interject.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, because I want to say, because Jacques, when I read your book, when I got to that first page and they showed the picture of the Koganei dojo, something went right up in. I didn't cry because I'm a big tough guy, but something went right up here, and holy smokes! And I read the book cover to cover.
Yeah,
thank you.
In one sitting.
Same here. When I read the part about you saying walking to the dojo past the baseball field and the school, I could picture it.
Yeah.
I could feel it. I could feel it. Because the Kenshus, going to the Kenshu classes, as Rob says, everything in your mind was saying, you're allowed to turn around, you're allowed to turn around, you're allowed to turn around, and yet you had to go forward and get in there. And then you just submitted to it. Once you're in there, you just submitted to it.
Yeah, and there is no doubt that without this experience, the force probably will be a completely different person now, I think.
Yeah, I
Might
think
not
so.
be a bad thing. Might not be a bad thing.
My knees were for a start. I mean,
Okay, so begs the question, right? Now, I never did the course officially, but I did parts of 2 courses in '83 in Koganei, and then in '89, Terada Sensei stuck me in with the police again. And you guys said yourself, right? There was a difference between Koganei, difference with Ochiai. And doing bits of both the courses, I noticed the difference. I mean, there were people in '89 who shouldn't have been there. I can mention names, but I won't. There were people there who shouldn't have been there. So why the difference? Is it because of the personalities of the different Shuseki Shihan at that time?
I would think so. I would think so. I don't know if you had the same feeling, Jacques. I remember when I was kind of technically a little bit in charge of, like, the foreigners. There were a couple people that, I said, we got to get rid of them. We just got to get rid of them. And the Japanese wouldn't do it. They said, no, they love Aikido. I said, they're just killing us out there. But, they're not doing Aikido anymore now. So perhaps we were right. But, we carried them along, and it just didn't make sense. But
for the purposes of transparency, we're talking about, loosely speaking, Koganei Dojo was Takeno Sensei's.
Yeah.
Ochiai Dojo was Terada Sensei. So we're talking about the two different personalities. And let me just say that those two teachers had a big influence on all of us. So we're not talking right or wrong. We're discussing the past. Mm-hmm. Okay? What do you think, Jacques?
Yeah, but I think also it's a different era. It basically the 80s and the 90s. So Japan started to change, and also it's completely different because the Koganei, all the instructor was young and they lived in the dojo, and it was really, the dojo was alive. But Ochiai, nobody stayed there, and also with Shioda Sensei was older, so he would come on the. I would think maybe just twice or 3 times a week or something like that. And everybody was a little less by themselves. We could feel that Shioda Sensei was a little older, so everybody would start to do their own things. And there was completely different mood.
If I can say, I don't know what you think, David. I always thought there was a little bit of fear in Koganei. Like, he didn't want to make a mistake. He didn't want to make a mistake. And honestly, I think at Ochiai, it wasn't really that way.
I agree. I think fear. I think it was. Ochiai wasn't challenging. It wasn't challenging to go. To walk up those stairs, and to go into the dojo wasn't challenging. You were relaxed and you were going into something new. I found Koganei from first day to last. It was. You were going in there and you were accepting the challenge. You were accepting the challenge. Just to be, and not in a negative way, or because otherwise, listen, we all gave our lives to that for many, many years. So it had to be something that had its rewards and its positivity. But nevertheless, you didn't just walk into the Koganei dojo. You got yourself ready.
Yeah, not if you were at a certain point. If you were doing the Kenshu, and if you were doing anything like living in the dojo and stuff, then it was different, and they treated you differently too. I think.
When I went to Koganei Dojo, I was actually fearful. I feared people like Nakano Sensei. I feared people like Takeno Sensei. I didn't fear Terada Sensei till I got to know him. And then I feared him most of all.
He's a scary, scary guy. He's a scary, scary guy. You just don't know it,
And the most number of times he hurt me was waiting for Kancho's car.
Outside, yes.
Yes.
We tell you're waiting for Kancho's car, and Takeno Sensei comes out, and he's looking at everyone's feet, and you're thinking, what the hell is he looking at everyone's feet for? And then you're realizing you're wearing his slipper. If you remember, you had to run back, and I was just new there. I had running shoes, and so I was always the last one to take my shoes off and the last one to run to the end of the line. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to wear this little flip flops. I didn't know, so I'll just wear these seta. I was wearing Takeno Sensei seta, and I kind of got the.
Only you, mate. Only you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to throw this at you, right? Sorry, my Japanese is, really bad. But in Koganei, the spirit, the answer was like, and the feeling was os, as in, gambate, never give up, yeah? Years later, in the 2000s, when I'd go to Ochiai, the feeling was os shoganai. That's the feeling I got, yeah. Sorry, can one of you translate what I said?
Us, I don't know.
Can't be helped.
That's life. That's life, or it can't be helped.
Can't be helped. That's the way it is. Yeah.
And that's the feeling I got that changed.
If you look the All Blacks doing the haka in the 70s. It's us. And then somebody said, no, if you're going to do this, you've got to do it seriously. And you then saw the haka as we understand it now. I think that's the difference between Koganei was a martial dojo. There's no question about it. It was a military. It was basically Koganei was a Kido Tai dojo, which other people were allowed to come to. And Ochiai was an open public dojo, which the Kido Tai trained in. I've just thought of that just now, but it seems to me that everything about Koganei was a Kido Tai dojo. That's my feeling now. Just thinking about that just now.
Jacques, what do you think?
Yeah, but I think for me, Aikido it's a progression. It's a process. So I think, for example, I'm sure if we have known only, personally that's true for me, if I have known only Koganei, I think I would have a completely different Aikido today. That would be very martial, maybe, and but I don't think I will be able to do the Aikido I'm doing now, because I think in Koganei it was very tough, but it was not very good for Aikido, because people you would do what you've been told, and but there was almost no, and everybody was not doing any research or anything. They would just do what Shioda Sensei tell them to do, or what Takeno Sensei do. So there'll be just one thing, and there is very, very little room really for personal development or something like that. And while in the Ochiai dojo, people start to develop really technically. But because I think we had this hard martial training that we could do this balance. But I think if we have only Koganei, only Ochiai, or only Koganei, I don't think we'd be, for us, I don't think we'd be the same person.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I don't know if you...
Go on.
I don't know if you remember this, Jacques, but when I was down visiting you in California, a good friend of ours, David Freiberger, was driving us, I think, either to the restaurant or to the dojo. I don't remember. But if you remember, he asked us, he said, you and I are really different from other people that spent time in Japan. Mm-hmm. He said, why do you think that is? And I was really eloquent. I said, I have no idea. I don't know. But you gave the perfect answer. And you said, I think it was the base. And I think that was the real difference. The Kamae and the Kihon and the little bit of the hardness of the Koganei dojo, which realistically, as you said, is kind of has to be with Takeno Sensei. I mean, I don't know if David remembers one afternoon class. It was Takeno Sensei, just David and I. And we had a really nice discussion about Aikido, and he just basically didn't say anything and slaughtered us. And that whole one lesson changed my whole life.
Yeah.
You know? But you come up going, wow, man, what the hell was that about? Yeah.
Doing a class with just one other guy, David and I, and Takeno Sensei, he walked over and said, what do you want to do? And I almost fainted. Holy crap.
So, on the other hand, was that American guy? There's the Air Force. Was it Bill?
Bill Hewitt. Yeah, I used to, never mind that guy. I hate him.
Because
he would say, I'm an MP, it has to work.
Yeah.
What do you do if the guy's choking you? And Takeno Sensei would say, Robert, Alistair, David, come here. Choke me. Sure.
Yes. And because people don't have questions, and he says, Sensei, what happens if they have a knife?
Yeah.
A knife, and you go, well, this. You say, first we're thinking, I'm glad he's robbed, not me. And you go, this is going to be really interesting for the next 10 minutes, And
yeah, well, my good friend David did that too, because Bill said to the guy, Takeno Sensei, what do you do if they kick? And everyone kind of looked around and stuff, and nobody could kick. And David said, oh, Robert can kick. Okay, kick me. All right.
Don't mention it. Happy.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. Going back, changing tack, right? So not changing tack, actually, right? So Yoshinkan, the house of building your spirit. Mm-hmm. And I can be honest and say that I'm a bit dumb. And if I wasn't physically scared when I went to the Yoshinkan, I would never have stayed on. I feared those guys. I respected those guys. That's why I stayed. And I think that has a lot to do with my spirit and my character. Jacques, you said in the interview in Koganei, the ukes, you had to kill them to stop them attacking you. And then even then, after you kill them, they try and get up to attack you.
Yeah.
Right? What's in the name? Where's the name gone? Where's the essence of Yoshinkan gone? Is it all just about nice technique? Where's that spirit? Where is it? I don't see it anymore.
Yeah, I agree, but I think you also have to fit with the word. I think if we do, I'm sure in my dojo, if I do the same training in Koganei, maybe I don't have any student. And anyway, if you hit people on the head, they will sue you, and so you just can't replicate the same thing. So I think we have to adapt to this new situation. But and that's why the only thing we can do is try to replicate maybe a little softer, but almost try to keep what's most important in the Sensei course and do some kind of training not for everybody, but for some people who are willing to.
Okay, so I'm just going to be the devil's advocate for a second, right? Okay. Now, everyone says in Japan, times have changed. There's no street violence. People are nicer. They don't have to train that hard martial aspect. But still, Kyokushin Karate is going really strong. There's a lot of BJJ, MMA really strong in Japan. A lot of young, fit people doing it. In Aikido and stuff, the only young, fit people are from university. So there is still a need, I think.
Yeah, but even in the Kyokushinkai and even NJ, I think it's very small in Japan. And it attracts some very, very strong young people, but they are struggling a lot too. So I think as a whole in Japan, people have a disinterest in Budo, martial arts. So,
and guys outside Japan, what do you think?
There's a lot of people that think Aikido is a martial art for a bunch of old people now.
Yes,
and that might be. I don't know about that. I think it's also a reflection on us. I trained. When we were younger, we just trained balls to the wall all the time because we were stupid and didn't know any better. I think as you mature, the more the Aiki part is just as important as all the hard training. And like, for example, the average age in my dojo is probably about, I'll say, over 45.
Same for me.
And I did one class where I did a little bit of a hajime, and I thought, okay, I have to remember my CPR here. What's going on? But I had one young kid who was 18. He was just smiling ear to ear and said, "Can we do hajime every class? I really liked it. Can we do it every class? It'd be great. It'd be fantastic." And I'm thinking, yeah, but I don't remember my CPR. Actually, I do. But you know what it's like? And I think as Aikido is for everyone, but everyone has to get out of what they need. So, and I would suggest, Joe, you do it. Jacques, you do it. And David, you do it. You got young guys in the dojo, you just beat the crap out of them. Yeah. And you got other people, you take it easy with them and let them go their own pace, and you don't worry about it too much. And I think
we have to adapt like that, huh?
It has to adapt to the teacher. I mean, I until I was in my mid-40s, I used to love getting thrown around. I used to just, for me, Aikido's always been about being bounced around. You fly, you bounce, you stand up. That's the fun bit. I never understood teachers who didn't get thrown around. Their students would say, well, I've never thrown my teacher in 20 years. And I thought, well, that's the fun bit, getting thrown around. And then I think I got an injury or something. I gradually stopped, and I don't get thrown at all. And I really miss it. I just like coming off steaming, just have done it in an hour, with your dogi dripping, and you come off and you go, wow, that was pretty damn good. Miss that a load. I can't do it. But the problem is, I used to run my classes. When I could do that, I ran my classes like that. Now I can't do that. I don't run my classes like that either. So my Aikido, the Aikido I teach, reflects the Aikido I do. And as Rob says, you see people who are slightly older and they're talking about this and talking about that and bringing the softer style into it. The kids want to go wham, bam, bam, thank you very much. That's what they want to do. And so I think, it depends on, where you are in your own, as I said about Takeno Sensei, your dojo reflects the teacher. And if
my daughter coming in.
Oh, hi, I'm sorry.
Emily.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Don't be silly. Go for it.
How are you doing?
Your first time, last time you saw Emily, I think she was 3.
Yeah, so little, yeah.
Just shrunk. That's all. Sorry. I was going to say, David. There you go. Thank you. I was going to say, David. I get all sweaty now just putting on my dogi. Never mind being thrown around.
Okay, guys. We're just gonna change gears here. We're gonna change gears here, right? Now, everyone, ShindokanBooks.com is offering a special 25% off if you order Inoue Sensei's DVD, Aikido Jinsei, Aikido Shugyo, or Jacuqes Payet's Uchideshi, right? Whoops, I just got a note here. The DVDs are sold out, so tough luck. The 3 books are still available at 25% off. When the DVDs come back on, Inoue Sensei's DVD, you'll be told. Now,
if people can support Chris Johnson with Shindokan Books, they should, because he's just a super, super stellar guy.
I found him to be a really tight bastard. He's really tight.
Not at all.
It took so much twisting, arm twisting to get that 25% for you guys. So please use it. The offer is limited for a few days. Use it, and I'll see if I can wrangle more discount for you in the future. Okay. By the way, anyone want to say anything about Chris Johnson?
If I don't talk to him once a week, I feel a bit weak. He's just a super stellar guy. He's been my biggest supporter for my dojo. So
yes.
Okay.
He's been a very, very important supporter for me too.
You don't know him. He's a tight bastard, Dave. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. Okay, guys. Chris Johnson is an amazing guy. Amazing guy.
You'd like him. He's top notch.
I'll make contact.
He studied Japanese, I believe, so he could translate the books. Am I wrong?
I'm the guy who gave him the first Aikido Shugyo copy in Japanese.
And you know, look at the books. Jacuqes Payet and Chris Johnson translated the first 2 together. Okay, they'll both tell you different stories, but they both did it together. So we'll leave it at that. Guys, remember, #KeepTheFlameAlive and you get 25% discount. Good. Guys, I'm getting good at this. I might give up my day job.
Pretty good.
Okay, so now, we're going to play a little game here, right? This is a bit corny, but hey, what the hell? I'm going to throw a name, and everyone has a go at, within 1 and 3 words, give us your impression on that person. Okay? All right. Shioda Gozo Kancho. Jacques, you go first.
Well, I think that is maybe one teacher I got comes every 100 years or something like that. And so for me, I don't want to become like him, but I think I need to understand what he was doing, what he was trying to do. So far, I haven't seen anybody, even the seniors, even if I respect them and I owe them a lot, but I can see that all the seniors didn't understand what he was trying to learn, which is the center line, the center line and shoot Shuryoku and this and that. That was really the pillar of the Yoshinkan, but still nobody really has really understood really that. So I think now most of the seniors is gone or died or they're old. And now it's time for us now to try to find that in the 10 years or so coming. And when after that, other people have to try to find out, because I think that's really most important goal. And really that when I think about Shioda Sensei, I think about this center line and hip power and things like that, and it would be a pity that if nobody can reproduce that and make that happen.
So, sorry, either of you guys speak French? Can you translate 1 to 3 words?
Sorry.
Okay, Dave, you're next.
The boss.
Okay. The boss. Okay, good. That's what I want. We're gonna whip through a lot of names. Dave,
yeah, an amazing present on the mat.
Good.
Amazing presence.
Yeah, I would just say brilliant. Okay, Terada Sensei. Dave,
I didn't know him. I
met him a couple of times. Respect. He was a man of Budo. Respect.
Rob, you don't know him?
I translated for him in Vancouver, and all he looked at me, he said to me, "I know your face." I said, "Us." He said, "You know my face?" I said, "Us." That was it. That was the only class I ever did with him. I never saw him at the Hombu.
Dave, how do you say 1 in 3 words in English?
It's in English.
Yeah.
For the Canadian, yeah. Jacques? Terada Sensei?
Terada Sensei, the nicest guy I've never seen. He is so sweet, you know. I just wish he was a little less tight, but he was certainly one of the strongest Aikido teacher in Yoshinkan.
I would say, I hosted him once, I'd say amazingly strong and a really, really nice man. Okay,
yes.
Move on. Rob, you go first. Inoue Sensei.
Gentleman. Brilliant gentleman.
Okay, that's what I want. Short answers. Dave.
Okay.
Gentleman. I was exactly the same. Gentleman. He's a gentleman.
Yes.
Jacques?
Yes. A wonderful gentleman, yes.
Yeah. I would say smooth as silk, both on and off the mat. Smooth.
Absolutely.
Um,
And also, Joe, a good dancer. A good dancer. When we had him in England, he was up on the floor. He was doing his stuff. He was
And he sings well too.
sorry?
He can sing very well too.
Yeah. Okay. We move on to Takeno Sensei. Rob?
I was very lucky.
Okay, good. That says it. Jacques?
Yes, a very hard man. I've learned a lot through being Izuke and being around him. It's always, I'm not sure it was very pleasant, but I'm thankful because thanks to him, I learned a lot.
Dave?
Scary. And until now, he's the only man on the planet who's got the mojo on my soul. He really has. Even now, you know, I have issues with my relationship with Takeno Sensei, even now, 35 years later.
All right. Viewers, forget all these bastards. They can't count. I keep saying 1 to 3 words, but okay, let that go out the window. Okay, for me, Takeno Sensei, scary, amazing teacher.
Yeah.
Okay, Shioda Sensei, Dave, you go first.
Technique. His technique is wonderful.
Jacques?
Rob?
Go, Rob.
He affected me profoundly.
Good.
That can have many meanings.
Yeah, I know. I'd say more, but he said, you know.
How's the therapy going?
That's good. Jacques?
Exactly.
Yeah, yes, I think he had two personalities, personality on the mat and personality outside. But very, very smooth technique. And also, I think he's consistent. He's been consistent from the time I've seen him until now. He's almost the same guy.
For me, Shioda Sensei, my thing would be thank you. He taught me a lot. Okay, Sakurai. Rob, you go first.
we called him Mumbles.
Yeah.
Dave?
His phrase was very good dame. It's bad, but you know, very good dame. You go, what? I mean, basically, most times when he spoke to you, you go, what? So, I mean, good luck to him. May live long and be healthy.
Jacques?
Yeah, I remember him. I think he was during a demonstration or something, and he lost his lens. So he stopped the thing and went to look for his lens instead of taking okay. So yeah, but, you know, and I prefer not to talk too much.
Yep. I dislike him. Okay. And that's putting it mildly. Okay. Shioda Yasuhisa. Jacques, you go first. You can take a one with this one. Go for it.
I told you last time. So, yeah, for me, you know, I owe him a lot, so I can't say much. You know, he's, you know, he introduced me to Shioda Sensei, and he let me translate the books. He took me to the. I was going to leave the Yoshinkan. He took me in again, and he asked me to go to teach at the Hombu. But everything else, he's not a good person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you didn't want to say much. Rob, you go next.
Jacques said it brilliant in his interview. I'm not a fan.
Okay. Dave?
Same as the above. Same as, there's a lot to be said. It's tough to be the son of the old man. It's always tough to be the son of the old man. But nevertheless, move on. Let's move on.
Okay. Listen to my past interview for my impression on him. Okay. Okay. Muguruza Sensei. Dave, you go first.
Power in all its forms. Can I expand a bit? Let's expand.
Yeah, sure.
After IWF came in, the idea was everybody had their own. And Jacques knows this better than any of us. The idea was, we had autonomy, we had relationship, but Muguruza was always talking about, and he was talking about this to Jacques. Jacques would tell you better than I can. He was always talking about, this is a traditional Budo, we have senpai kohai, and he wanted to be the boss. He wanted to have ownership of the dojos around, and he was always talking about very much power. So he's very powerful, obviously clearly very powerful on the mats, but outside it was very much about control and power as well.
Okay. Jacques?
Yes, I owe him a lot, because when I first arrived, he was my senpai. So and I didn't speak any Japanese or anything, so he helped me at the beginning. So I owe him a lot. But yes, like David said, he's very strong personality, and sometimes difficult to deal with.
Okay, cool. Rob?
I really liked everything about him. I've talked with him once, and I met him in Japan twice. I liked everything about him.
Okay, cool. All right, I kept missing him, and I only met him once in Munich. We got along well, and when he speaks, I listen. Okay, Ando Sensei. Jacques, you go first.
For me, he's a friend, because we started together at Koganei, and we were still in Uke until fourth dan, and just a friend. And for his size, he can put a lot of tremendous power, and he has a very good, strong mind, and he has a very open personality, and I think he's doing a very original, interesting Aikido.
Rob?
His classes were great. Yeah.
Dave?
A good guy. And what I like is Aikido, but I like his dojo. I've never been in his dojo, but I like the way he relates to his students. I like the way he creates that family atmosphere. I've been at parties with him more than I've trained with him in the last 10 years. But I like the way he runs his life, and I like the way he runs his dojo. And I would call, like I say, I call him Sensei. He's a good guy. I like him. So
for me, I got two impressions of Ando Sensei. One, in the past, the few times I trained with him on the 83 course, it was a tough bugger. I mean, tough man. He's like, and he never say die, never. And later on in life, I found him to be the most positive of all the Japanese teachers, the most encouraging, the most positive. And some of the characters we've dealt with, the only you do something and the only thing they'd say, choto okashi ne. Whereas Ando Sensei, he wants to know what you're doing in your dojo, how you're promoting it, and he was very positive, man. And I think that's why he's growing, because he's positive. Okay, so Chino, Rob.
Really strong Aikido.
Dave.
Yeah. I mean, no question about it. Strong Aikido, strong character, strong soul. Could have done with some softness there, I think, to be honest.
Okay.
Could have done with some humanity. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this is what has been said. So I hope you will soften a little and yes, yes, put some little more love in the Aikido. Yeah.
It's a little different too, because I mean, when I met him, he was a 19-year-old Shodan. David was the same.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yes, I taught him his first lesson.
I don't think they give him a lot of help.
Yeah.
So.
Look, I'm going to be honest here. Chino and I never got along. I don't know why, but and I think it's feelings mutual on both sides. But everyone listening here, he's moved on. He's got his dojo. He's moved on. Give him the privacy. Give him the respect he deserves. Don't worry about why he left the Yoshinkan. It's not important. He's moved on. You want to wish him well, wish him well. Otherwise, don't bother him with his private life.
There was one. Sorry, Rob. Go.
Oh, if he ever came to Vancouver, I would take all my students to go.
There was one rite of passage that every foreigner had to have in Japan. You had to have a fight with Chino. At some stage, you actually have to have a fight with him because he would get right down and get dirty. And I know a lot of people, you had to go through that. But
I never stopped on that one.
I did.
Okay, all right, move on. Okay, Oyamada. You're laughing, you go first.
Yes. Yeah, Oyamada is thinking always when he wanted to kiss me. So, but no, he's a nice guy, and I think now he's doing well. He has his own dojo, and everybody is doing their best, and they do what they think they have to do, and we have to respect that. And,
Dave.
I think it's indicative, just the way the tone of the conversation changes as we move from generation to generation. As we, Oyamada is Ochiai, he's not Koganei. And I think it's clear. Now, it may well be that his students talk about him like we talk about Ando Sensei, and for me, it's Ando Sensei and Nakano Sensei, those are our senseis. Maybe Oyamada's and Sakurai, and what's his name, the other guy. They talk about their teachers like we talk about them, but I think there's from our perspective, there's a quantitative difference as you move, as you talk about those teachers of that generation in Koganei, because so far they've all been Koganei. Ochino wasn't really Koganei, but I mean the others weren't. And now you move into Ochiai and the 90s, and I just think the feeling gets different. It's not good or bad. It's just a different thing. What I must say about him, what I like about him is he's on the dojo, doing stuff with his son. That's always good. That's always nice. If your son's stuck with you and trained with you, and you can do Aikido with your son, that's good.
I won't touch on that one, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thinking about
yeah.
Okay. Rob, go.
I remember when he was a white belt, but he really came a long way, because in the Ochiai dojo, I used to really enjoy and look forward to his kenshus. He became a good teacher.
Okay. Oyamada came onto staff late in life compared to a lot of the other uchideshi. Anyone correct me if I'm wrong, yeah? And he got treated pretty badly by some of the staff, pretty badly. And from what I understand, from what I've seen and heard, he's a tough boy. He was a tough guy, and he paid his dues. He didn't do the course like most of the instructors did, but believe me, he paid his dues. He was roughed up. He was bashed up. I've seen him spit teeth after a demonstration. Can't kiss you afterwards, Jacques, but he was a really tough man. Okay, sorry, I had a list, and down the bottom of the list was Nakano Sensei, and I didn't see it. So sorry if Nakano Sensei is watching. I didn't mean to leave you out. So here's the last one, Nakano Sensei. Jacques, please.
Well, he was he was very athletic when he was young, and I think he was a very good uke. And he's like everybody in the dojo. He was, he has this urge to become strong, and he was also tough guy. And but again, like everybody there, he could be bastard. He could he could be very bad with the kohai, but also he was also, for me, I owe him a lot too, because he helped me a lot in the dojo, and I learned many things with him too.
Yeah.
So I remember when the first time I had to take uke for Takeno Sensei, and I was not sure about the uke miyate, so he taught me how to protect my head and to do things, and he has been very supportive. Yes.
Rob?
Him and I were very close. And as Jacques said, he was my best friend in the dojo. He was pretty mean to me sometimes too. But him and I were very close.
Cool. Dave?
I liked him a lot. He had a humanity about him, to use that word I think that you used. He had a humanity about him. And I genuinely, I liked his Aikido. For us, Sakurai Sensei was his senior. And we always wanted, and therefore he did everything. He always thought that Nakano Sensei never did. And we always thought it would be so much, for us, it would have been much nicer if Nakano Sensei had had the opportunity to teach more. But I genuinely liked the guy, and I loved his Aikido, and I liked him. Yeah.
In lots of ways, for me, he was scary and he was sharp. Mm-hmm. Not just technically too, but here as well. He was a very sharp man. And, you know, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but Takeno Sensei, Chida Sensei, Nakano Sensei, Ando Sensei, all these guys there could have been anything they wanted, and they would have been top in their field. They were all intelligent, and they were all super observant, super aware, and they all had determination. So it says a lot that they all followed Shioda Gozo Kancho, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then the question, Joe, is why hasn't it carried on? You know, why are those teachers? The purpose of a teacher is to create a next generation of teacher. That's your responsibility to carry on. I think it's a good question to ask. What, you know, if the things we're talking about has happened, you have to look at the teachers. You know, you don't blame the student for being bad students. You look at the teachers for why they haven't created the next generation of teachers.
Yeah, good question. What do you think, guys?
That takes more than an hour, I think, to talk about that. But
we got time. We got time.
Yeah, I think you know, David's right, and the difference is, for example, how come, you know, I mean, we're all doing some interesting things and stuff, but if you look at it seriously, why are not many people doing what Gozo Shioda was doing, and why is almost nobody doing what Ueshiba Morihiro Sensei was doing? That's literally the whole premise, I think. And I just think sometimes if we get all caught up in just sometimes maybe too technical and not going beyond that, worrying about the centimeters, which, you know, with Yoshinkan Aikido, as Jacques said, I mean, there's not many people who've been around long enough to make it their own. I think, and you have to make it your own and get confident in doing it that way. And then I think then people will start to follow you. And I think I would suggest that, you know, we haven't had that real leader, the real leadership, the guys that can, you know, have people want to follow them. Jacques done it in Kyoto. I've done it with my 5 guys in Vancouver. I know David's got a strong following in London, but I'm not sure about other dojos. I don't know if that makes sense.
Anyone else? Jacques, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I think all what you guys said, I think probably that's the reason. But there's probably something else, but I don't see now. What do you think?
Yeah. I got a lot of thoughts on that. Yeah. One is like they say never discount the sowing of a good idea. You throw out the seeds, and it has to come up. Look at how many people train from your days and my days. How many are left? But it only takes 1%, or even 0.5% to be good.
Yeah.
Like a Takeno or a Chida or a Jacuqes Payet or Robert Mustard, Dave Rubens. It only takes a small percentage. So we just got to throw that seed out there and hope for the best, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think, and
the sheer numbers and attrition.
and this is a big problem I see now. When we were training, if you liked Takeno Sensei, you still copied what Shioda Sensei did and what he taught you, right? You still did what Nakano Sensei taught you. But now I'm getting the feeling where people want to be like their teacher. So if I follow Robert Mustard, then everything Dave Rubin does is wrong. If I follow Shioda Sensei, then everything everyone else does is wrong. The ability to learn from different people is being restrained because you don't want to learn from your teacher. You want to be like your teacher. I that's the feeling I get now.
Okay.
And
maybe
in politics,
you can see that. Yeah, you can see it. I mean, I was told not to. I was specifically told not to copy anyone. And I mean, if you spend time with those two guys we're talking about, Takeno Sensei, Shioda Sensei, it has to rub off on you. But what I often tell people, seriously, is I tried so hard to be like Takeno Sensei and Shioda Sensei that I became myself. And I'm quite happy with that now. I mean,
now I know who to blame. Now I know who to blame.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, can we move on? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jacques, you wanted to ask something.
Yes, I wanted to see what you guys think, what you personally you want to achieve, and what for you, maybe your mission, your goal in the next 10 years. What do you think is very important that you pass to people or something like that?
Good question. I would like to. I have a small dojo in Vancouver. All of you have been to my dojo. You know it's kind of small, but I think it's not a bad place. I would like to keep trying. I spent my whole Aikido career trying to be true to my teachers, because I don't consider, Kancho Sensei my teacher. I wish I could say that, but the truth is he never really taught me anything. He never once said do this or do that. But I always try to be true to Kimura Sensei, Takeno Sensei, and Shioda Sensei, and all the seniors at the Yoshinkan. And I'd like to keep going. So eventually I have one senior student who I think is a special young man. And I'd like to keep the dojo going enough so basically I can just give it to him. And maybe he'll let me come once a week and yell at people, do my old sensei, or something like that. That's what I'd like.
Dave?
It's an interesting question, 10 years. I mean, what's interesting is, we're all, Rob's a couple of years ahead of us, but we're all in around, I'm 61, Joe, you're 59, Rob, you're 64, and yet we're still talking about 10 years ahead. 20 years ago, you finished, mate, at 64. I mean, I'm still trying to work out what I want to do when I grow up. I haven't quite worked that one out yet. But I'm doing stuff now in my life, which is, I'm beginning 15, 20-year projects in my life now. Jacques said that before he went to Japan, he thought he was going to be going into become a priest. He went into the school. I was going to become a Buddhist monk. I was been in India for 2.5 years before I went to Japan. I've been around Buddhism. I spent time in Buddhist monasteries. I was actually on my way to Sri Lanka to join a monastery there, and I got sidetracked and I met a Japanese guy. But I think that a life spent in Yoshinkan is not a wasted life. I think it's a door, it's a path. And I think it has absolute relevance. So I hope that I keep continuing, I keep developing. And just as I understand stuff now, which I didn't get 10 years ago, I hope that I get stuff in 10 years that I don't get now. And being aware that you build who you wish to be. What I do today creates that person, that discipline allows it. And as Rob said, to spread some light in some dark times, the dojo is a place of, for many of us, when times are hard, people say, time is tough, I can't come to dojo. And I would say, no, man, that's when you need to come to dojo. When time is tough in your family or your life, whatever, that's when you need to come to dojo. That gives you, that hour and a half when you just forget about everything. So I think hopefully we can sort of, spread some light and spread, like you said, put some seeds there and add some value to people's lives.
Cool,
great.
I'll go next, Jacques. You asked the question, so you can go last.
Okay. Yes, please go.
So, in training, I never wanted to be like any teacher, but I would see the way some teacher did this, and I'd say, I want to do it like that, and I want to do this technique like him, this technique like him, this technique like him, or her, but I never wanted to be like them. So I had visions or images that I chased. And now that you asked the question, I don't have those images anymore. Now I'm happy to go where it takes me.
You made it your own.
I don't know about that, but
I do.
I'm done chasing. I'll let it be from now on. Yeah.
Joe, if I can come in, Joe, if I can just say, I remember a conversation when I left Tokyo in 1988. I came to you. You were the first person I came to. And I remember us having a conversation over a beer, as always. But basically, we were there. We were in our 30s, in our early 30s, mid 30s, doing Aikido. So Aikido is our path. But you said the question is, how do we become real teachers? We're not pretending to be Japanese teachers. And you said, I'm not a Japanese teacher, but I teach a Japanese art. And we had a really nice, powerful discussion about what it means to be a Yoshinkan sensei and a genuine sensei, but not to be a Japanese sensei. And I think we've all continued that conversation in our lives, that dialogue in our lives for the last 35 years. And that conversation was very powerful for me. I remember it very clearly right until now. Okay.
Jacques?
Yeah, I think you, all three of you, I think you made it your own. I haven't seen Dave for a while, but I see you two guys, and I know that what you're doing is your own stuff. And that means that you really work through the base and you make it your stuff, and that's really the goal. You can't do better than that. For me, I think we have a special duty because we are. I think we are. If we had Muguruza and maybe David Lynch, we are the only first generation. People who really train with Shioda Sensei. And I think we have some special thing because I don't think you can understand. I don't say that to diminish anybody, but I mean that is the truth. If you haven't touched Shioda Sensei, you can't have an idea of what is the Shuchuryoku or the center line or thing like that. You have no idea. It's not because and when you felt that during the Kurubikai and things like that your body remember. So and that's very true because I saw Robert the other day and he was doing stuff he couldn't do 20 years ago, but through that happened naturally because that get into his body. So naturally the center line and things like that he can reproduce that. So that's something I'm pretty sure without the Kurobikai, he would never be able to do that.
No, I don't think so. And and I always say, this stuff doesn't skip a generation.
Yeah, so I think that's really something we have a duty. So for me, and I don't mean that to again, it's not to be condescending or to down people or anything. It's not at all that. But I don't see any of the senpai because I know Kushida Sensei, Inoue Sensei did great set and we owe them a lot, but they didn't find the center line and the Shuchuryoku. So maybe if they didn't have time, maybe if they lived another 10 years or 20 years, they might have found. And I would be very happy to learn from them, but that didn't happen. So now it's up to us to find that. So I think for me, my goal, and also because now I'm over 60, so I don't care about what people are going to say. I don't care to be vulnerable. So I think you have to be vulnerable because you have to try things that nobody has tried, and you have to, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. But you have to be honest, and you have to really go to there to find it, because I don't want to become Shioda Sensei, but I want to understand what he's doing, and I want to do it my own way, and that's my goal. Okay? And I think if we don't do that, nobody can do it. So we have to do it. So I think that's my mission, and I'm sure you guys. That I'm sure somewhere in your mind you have that too, because we were very lucky. So we spent time with him, we touch him, he helped us, and especially for me, I feel very lucky because I feel that the Kurobikai he was doing in the 80s and the Kurobikai he was doing in the 90s was very different. because in the 90s he was older, but the technique was much more subtle. And also at the in 90, I remember, I'm sure Rob remember, but at the end of his life he was much more eager to give. So he would, he would spend more times touching you, helping you, and things like that. And for me, it was very lucky because I could spend a lot of time talking with him and spend time at the dojo. So I've learned a lot of that. But so it's a combination. It's a combination of what the strong spirit, the strong base that we had in Koganei, but plus this time in 91, 92 at the Ochiai, where I could be close to him. And for me, it's really important to, because it's just that we are just very few people who are from the first generation. So I think we have to work harder and make that happen. That's my take.
Okay, sorry guys, we've gone past the hour, but if you we'll go for another 10-15 minutes if that's okay with everyone.
Yeah, fine.
Jack, I
7 o'clock in the morning. In your honor, my brother, in your honor, you know what? 7 o'clock in the morning. I think I can get used to this. You know what?
Cheers.
I'm going to ask a really tough question.
Yes.
And if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. Okay. Now, you said, especially in the last interview we did, that what the Shihans were teaching was not what Kancho was doing.
Yes, it's normal.
So hold on, but doesn't that make the Yoshinkan and the teaching system a fraud? Shouldn't they give their money back to people?
Yeah, because that's a traditional way. And also, I think there was a huge difference between the teachers. So probably it was too early for them. So they have to find by themselves to go through the process. And I think for me it was just too much of a gap they couldn't understand. So, and for example, most of the teacher at the Kurobikai, they thought, there's no way, nobody could do anything. So they thought, that was Shioda Sensei's training. That's not my training. So they would do the technique, but they didn't think that was they were going to learn something.
But don't you think that the Yoshinkan system, like the Kyon Dosa, Daichi Kyon, Daini Kyon, Daisan Kyon, is the stepping stones to do what Kancho Sensei was doing?
Yes, but it's just the form. After that, you have to do the work really to find what really means. For example, the center line. Everybody talk about center line or Shutyu-ryoku, but I think you have to have your own definition, and you should really feel. Unless you feel that with your body, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so now comes the question. But if people skip, I'm not saying you're saying skip the basics. I understand what you're saying. But if people just copy Shioda Gozo Kancho, then
that's a problem. That's why I said
Sensei. It becomes a parody of an old man.
Of course. So that's why I said we are the only one really can work on that. Because if people too early they got the jump, they will there'll be a very, very soft. There'll be just a copy. I think you have to really go through the process. Very, very hard. So you need very, very hard training at the beginning, and after that a little more, you relax a little, and after that you can start to work on these things. So if everybody doesn't do any Kyon Dosa, anything, and just try to work on this Kamiwaza, there'll be collapse of Yoshinkan.
Now I'm really glad you elaborated on that, because after the last interview, people asked me about that. Mm-hmm. You guys got anything to say about that?
Well, I think it's a process, and I think a little bit of the problem is everybody wants to go to heaven, nobody wants to die. You got to do in the work that you make it your own, and then one day I think there's a truth that you just know. One day you do Kamai and it's different, and you just know, and it doesn't matter what anyone will say, whether it's good, bad, or no, you just know. And I think that's the whole Shuhari thing. And I don't think it has to take forever, but I know it doesn't take 5 years. I mean, I started Yoshinkan in 1977, and I started doing things where people were giving me strange looks and thinking it's a bit strange in 1991 when I was 5th dan. and I just got, and it was up and down, and I just got better and better, and I got more relaxed and more confident. And when I got more relaxed and more confident, my kamae got better. But the truth is, if your kamae isn't very good in the beginning, then it's not going to get any better unless you get kind of the right hints.
Yes.
And I think still a little bit, it sounds a bit harsh, but if your teacher doesn't have it, you're not going to get it.
It's true.
I think, and we, Jacques was right. We have a kind of duty because we were quite lucky. I mean, I think I was very lucky because, again, I mean, I took uke for a lot of the top teachers all the time. So.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I know. For example, in Shudokan karate, they say Shudokan is karate for high school students. That's what it's designed for. There's nothing more on it. It's a bit like music as well. I mean, the last time I went back to Hombu Dojo, I saw people who'd been there for 20 years, and it was Hirikini-ose Ichni, Shomunushi Ikato-ose Ichni, and you think this is like music. Where's the jazz? Where's the blues? Where's the samba? What happens next? And I think one of the things is because you have the Kido Tai course is a 1-year course. It's almost like you do a 1-year course, then a 1-year course, and then you just repeat it. It's like it's not spiraling. You say, well, okay, what happens next? What's the next level? And there's nothing. I didn't see anything within the Hombu Dojo that says, this is where the magic goes, or this is where the transcendental stuff goes, or this is where this is where the creativity comes in. And I think that's very much part of the Japanese system as well. I'm sure that we run our classes, although we are deeply, deeply, deeply rooted in the Kihon Dosa and the Kamae. I think there's probably a lot more creativity within our classes than there would be in an equivalent dojo in Japan, and that's cultural. And I think to go back, it's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's either useful or it's not useful to you in the way that you want to look for it. But I think we're probably exploring more. We're exploring more. We're experimenting more with Aikido than they would probably be doing in Japan. My feeling.
Cool. Look, we've talked about the past, and Kancho died in 94, right? And then till 2007, 14 years, everything was cool. 07, 08, there was a big turmoil. And then Shioda Yasuhisa came in, and then 5 years later, he left. It's still in a Yoshinkan's, I don't know what the right word, transitioning, stuck in mud, whatever you want to call it. I think off camera, you guys wanted to discuss that. So being a heretic, Rob, I will keep quiet. I'll just ask the questions. What do you think about the current situation, and where would you like to see it go? Jacques, you go first.
I almost have no say, Joe. I mean, I will, maybe in a nutshell, I will say that someone on the Yoshinkan Fellowship said something along the lines of, how much contact, do foreign overseas dojos have with the Hombu Dojo? And I was going to type in that I'd be surprised if the Hombu knew there were overseas dojos. But I'm not a member of the fellowship, so I couldn't make a comment. But I mean, I get
So you're just one of the stalkers, then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just comes up on my Facebook feed. But the truth is, I mean, they don't. I get an email. I get an email once every 4 months or so, and they say this and that and stuff. I just don't think they're doing anything to make us feel like we're a part of the organization. So when I got my 8th dan, I didn't even get anything. And if you remember, you said, I think, Joe, you said it. They should know who the 8th dans are, who the high-ranking people are, this and that, and I don't think they do.
I had a big ceremony. Inoue Sensei gave me a big ceremony, just so you know.
Yeah, thanks. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I got same as Jacques. You might remember because apparently it happened at the same time. I might have been the 60th anniversary, but I think Jacques, they gave you a Lifetime Achievement Award. They gave me a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Nobody told me.
I didn't get one.
Yeah, because you're not Yoshi or Heretic. But nobody told me. If Roland Thompson hadn't have written on Facebook, it was wonderful because two of the foreigners that have had a big effect in Japan, Jacuqes Payet Sensei, Mustard Sensei, got Lifetime Achievement Awards. And I thought, I got a Lifetime Achievement Award? Great. Because they didn't even tell me. You know?
Jack, I'll tell you for last. Dave, what do you think? Current situation?
I think we all in our hearts would like Yoshinkan, the Hombu Dojo, to be a strong Hombu. I think we would give it our support. I think it's important to have that thing that holds us together. And unfortunately, I don't see it happening. And I don't know why. Because I think that we would support it. I think there's a general desire, to have a good, strong Hombu. But I also think if Yoshinkan is going to maintain itself over the next 10, 20 years, if in 2045, is somebody going to be having this conversation in the next generation about Yoshinkan? I think it's important that you have that thing that holds it together. I genuinely do, and maybe it's just cyclical. Maybe it'll come back in, at some stage.
What holds the Yoshinkan together?
Old farts like us.
I don't know about that.
That's a really good question, Joe. I have no idea because ultimately it must be some money. I mean, how is it? I know Ando Sensei is doing very well down in Oriyasu, but how is the membership at the Hombu? How are they supporting themselves?
Okay, so for me, the one thing that held the Yoshinkan together was the technique being taught at the Hombu Dojo.
Yeah.
I remember in the Millennium Festival, Inoue Sensei said, if you're not doing the technique being taught at the Yoshinkan Hombu Dojo, you're not doing Yoshinkan Aikido. That was the core. Mm-hmm. It kept it together, and I think then in 2007, it kind of like boom, and everyone went their own way. Sorry, that's my Jacques, please. What do you think about the current situation?
I agree with what everybody said. I think it's good to have a Hombu, a center. But I don't want to get involved in the politics and the bureaucracy again because it was too much in the IYF when we started, and I saw many people angry and a lot of negativity. So I think if we are going to do something new, we have to do that. Everybody is and get something is rather happy or not really dissatisfied. If they're going to fight and there will be winner and loser, I think it doesn't work. But I think for us, the best for us, I think it's to try to make the Aikido level higher technically, and also make sure that, I think that's a great example because we have four of us, we have completely different personalities and our view are different, but we agree on many things. And whatever happened, I think we will stay friends. And I think that's really what matters. And I think that in that way, I think we can both technically and also the way we act. I think we can keep things above the level, above the Facebook level. And I think that's what we can do. And after that, hopefully there'll be some young, because I don't know what will happen in 10 or 20 years if I will be there. So it's up to the young generation now to try to work out something. They should be smart and find a way to get something that everybody agree on and see what's going on.
Joe, can I say something?
One second. Okay, now that's the current. Yeah, you can say what you want to say, Dave, but the future. What do you hope to see? Okay, let's not worry about whether it's possible or not. Your wish list. Your grandfather, we're all old men. What's your wish list for the Yoshinkan for the future? Dave, go.
Dave, okay.
That it is strong and it's progressive. It's not regressive. But I must say, there's some young teachers doing some really good work. And it's not, we've got some certain level of negativity here. There's some really good teachers, some younger generation, third and fourth dans coming through, who are doing some really good work, running their dojos, teaching properly, creating their communities, and it would be nice if Hombu Dojo could support them and see that, you know, the Hombu Dojo had a role in helping develop and propagate and maintain and sustain this wonderful, wonderful thing that Shioda Sensei gave us. But it has to be done, you know, it's not just going to happen, as Rob says, you know, people have to do it. But I think if, you know, I think the world, I still do, I used to think it, and I still do, the world is a better place if Yoshinkan is strong within it. I do.
Oh, Rob?
I think the truth is you know, there are places where you might get better training than the Hombu Dojo, but that's fine. Things happen that way sometimes. I think they need leadership. They have to show leadership. And, you know, they should maybe contact the senior people that have been around forever, you know. So I don't know, it's almost show some trust, you know. If I sign a recommendation letter for someone for a 5th dan or 6th dan, just say us. Don't question me and stuff. I mean, you got to trust me. I mean, if it's my name's on the certificate, then they're worthy. That's all there is to it. And they should show a bit more trust, but a little bit also leadership. And I don't know. We'll see. I don't hear anything. So,
Jacques, the future.
Yeah.
You had an idea before you were floating. I don't know if you want to say it.
Yeah, but that's just a wish, because I think I know personally that Shioda Sensei wanted his name to stay in the Yoshinkan. So for me, it hurts me that, you know, when I get a certificate, I don't see any of the Shioda name. I see somebody I don't know sign the certificate. So I think it's Japan tradition too. My idea was, okay, everybody cannot agree on the sun, but, you know, maybe the next generation, the younger Shioda, and we can ask the grandson to become the head of the new Kancho, and ask him to, before he can do that, because he doesn't have the technical experience yet, so he can travel, maybe visit the seniors in Japan and train a little with them, understand, gets, you know, and maybe travel overseas. He's a senior instructor there, learn from that, and get some experience. And, you know, after 1 year, 2 years, he can go back to the dojo, to the Hombu, and become the head instructor. Not the Kancho, even if it's on the, you know, it's just the name, but I think it's very, very important.
I think it was rare that, you know, I mean, Kancho Sensei was the best and the strongest, and he had also the name. And sometimes in other martial arts, you know, the person that becomes a successor might not necessarily be a very good martial artist, but they have the name and they know the responsibility. Just like the Ueshiba family, I haven't heard anyone say that, you know, they say Waka Sensei or I don't, Doshu or Waka Sensei or something. I haven't heard anyone say that these guys are great, but they're the head and they have their name and they act accordingly.
Yes, and everybody's behind them.
Yeah, it couldn't hurt. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just don't know the politics of it in terms of the Shioda name. I mean, if you think Yoshinkan Aikido, you think Shioda. So, you know,
but is that just an idea? I don't know.
Yeah, if you came to Vancouver, I'd show support. I mean,
Okay, so everyone listening in, you got these amazing teachers, senior teachers, thinking outside the box, giving you a vision, giving you a direction. Guys, take heed. You know, they've got so many years experience, and they're not just concentrating on their own Aikido. They're thinking about the organization. They want to grow it. And I'm a heretic, so as Rob says, so I'll shut up. But take heed of what's been said and follow that. Follow that. Rob, you wanted to ask me a question, didn't you? Is he going to sleep?
No, I can't remember. What was the question? I think I can't remember. But I said I was going to ask you a question.
You said, why haven't I interviewed Japanese teachers?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. Well,
he's been drinking too much apple juice. Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm just drinking pure vodka, but I think you're doing a great job. I think it'd be really good, but I also, yeah, it'd be interesting to see some of the Japanese teachers here.
So, guys, just to clarify something, right? Most of the people listening in are Aikidoka. Very few people outside the Aikido world are listening in, and out of everyone listening in, it's like 80-90% people who do the Yoshinkan system. The Yoshinkan system. So if you want to get your message across with Yoshinkan Aikido, this is the perfect format. Perfect, right? It hasn't been from the lack of trying. I've invited Japanese teachers on, both Japanese teachers in Japan, outside Japan. One reason or another, they kindly decline. Some said maybe later, and I accept that. But it hasn't been because I haven't tried. Thanks for the question, Rob. And everyone, I don't want to see the Yoshinkan world fail. I want to see it grow. I think Jacuqes Payet's got some great ideas. So all of these guys do. Now, next week, right? See how it just flows on. Next week, I'm going to interview the next generation. So, guys, we have time. As Jacques said, in 89, 90, setting up the IYF was really traumatic for him. It was really hard. And believe me, with certain characters there, it was really difficult. I wasted my chance in 07. I should have tried to do something when Shoda Yasuhisa came back in. Probably couldn't, but I should have done it. So what I'm getting at is we've done our bit, or we've wasted our bit, whatever you want. So we're creating the vision. It's the next generation that needs to drive it. You guys agree with me?
Yeah.
I think we're the grand old men.
So, yeah. Grumpy old farts, yeah. And I'm going to interview the next generation, right? I'm going to interview next week. The panel is Paul Stevens, Darren Friend, John Marshall, Michael Kimeda. Okay. Now, last thing, I usually say, what advice you have for people? What advice would the three of you have for these guys? Where do you want them to push the Aikido Fellowship? Not necessarily the Yoshinkan, but the Aikido Fellowship. It's already got 600 odd members. Mind you, it's Facebook.
Stay true. Stay true.
Stay true.
If you believe in Yoshinkan, if you do that, everything else will follow.
Okay, good. Jacques?
Yeah, open. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think open communication. I think it's a really good thing that John started, and it's got some people talking. I think open communication and people ideas, and I haven't seen anyone argue or be snarky or get a little bit, kind of political and stuff. I think if they
haven't you read it?
I've been reading some of it.
It's nasty.
No, you're the only one that does nasty stuff. I think open communication, giving people a venue. I think it's good.
Cool.
Yeah. Jacques? Okay. Yes, I think it's always a good thing, when people start to question, and I think the thing is that everybody loves Yoshinkan. They want it to make it better. So that's certainly a very positive thing. Be careful that I don't think there is, like I said, there is Koganei and there is Ochiai, but maybe people who were before Koganei, maybe they say Koganei was terrible, before was better. I don't know. I don't think there is. I think there was right for this time, and it's a progression. So Aikido started when Shioda Sensei started. He was very, very strong. I don't think his Aikido was very good, but he was very, very powerful, very strong. And his Aikido really got better, I think, at the end of his life. But he couldn't do that without this hard training and this hard stuff. and because of the training he did before the war and all the experience with heads. So everything is Aikido. It is Aikido. So for example, I'm sure I go to, I haven't seen much of your student, but if I see your student, I don't think technically they'd be less than the people who train in Koganei at this time. Because there was not, they were not good. There were terrible Aikido at Koganei. They were very strong spirit maybe, but not good Aikido. There are at least very few. I don't talk about the Uchideshi or that, but the general student were terrible. And I think now your students are better than the people who were at Koganei at this time now. So again, everything is relative. So when I hear people today the level is very low, things like that, it's not true. If I go to Russia, sometimes I find people are very good. Some are rubbish, of course, that's like everywhere, but some are very good. So I don't think the level is it's lower and everything should be thrown away. I think there is many things you can improve, but there's no need to throw everything back. And also it's never. I think it's no good to make too much bureaucracy. So like people run the board, because generally, especially when there is foreigners, when you have 10 foreigners together, everybody will say something, and it's very difficult to have consensus. So it will impossible to decide anything. So I don't know. Maybe next week it'll be interesting to hear what they say next week.
Everyone, you know how lucky you are. In 1983, I spent 3 months with Jacuqes Payet in the dojo. I never heard him speak so much. So you know how lucky you are. Okay. Last words.
It's great, really great. This is a really, really great opportunity for me to talk about the old days and stuff. It brings back great memories, and it was a really pleasurable experience. Thank you very much.
Dave?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, the thing about history is you never know you're living through history. We didn't know we were living through history. The people today who are doing their stuff today, in 30 years' time, they will be the old guys who are talking about what happened back in the 20s when COVID was around and stuff like that. They will be the old guys. They'll create what's going to happen. So we're passing the torch. Accept the banner, carry it forward.
Yeah, cool. All right, everyone. Look, remember the discount. You're going to get 25% off Shudokan books. Hashtag keep the flame alive, guys. It's been a pleasure.
One last thing.
Yeah, go.
I think it's a great thing you're doing here, and I know you're talking about Aiki TV and this and that. It's fantastic. You're getting better at interviewing. You're not yelling at me like the last time. Anything I can do to help you, I'm at your service.
Thank you. And guys, last time he called me an idiot on air, but thank God he didn't do it. Somehow it must be getting better.
Maybe it slipped out. I'm not sure.
Yes,
listen,
great job.
We're running out of time. I got to thank you guys very much. It's the last time the four of us were together was in 1989 at the Ambu Saikai. Dave, you came back for that one. Yeah. Everyone, the people I mentioned that I'm interviewing next week, I forgot the pivotal person, John Marshall, right? He was the one responsible for setting up the fellowship group, and he's the pivotal person in all this. So, give him your support. If all you can do is give shit to the group, stay off the bloody group, please. Try and be positive. And one thing, if you're going to learn from your teachers, then bloody hell, learn from the four of us, okay? We don't agree on everything. There's things that I've said that the three of them could have debated. But we all agree that we want Aikido to be strong, Yoshinkan Aikido to be stronger, to be better. And look at how we've conducted ourselves. We haven't been rude. We've been sociable. We've been nice. Once we get off the air, I don't know. But we've been good. So next time you talk to someone on Facebook, think about how you want to be spoken to, right? In martial arts, it's about reiho, it's about etiquette. And if you're not sure, just watch us again and see how we've conducted ourselves and try and conduct yourself the same way. If you don't have reiho, if you don't have etiquette, don't bother doing Aikido. Give it up. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Those-
Hashtag
Very much.
Flame Alive.
Thank you so much.
Stay on, please, stay on.